All right, hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for staying until this segment, and thank you so much, Jonathan. I mean, it's really an amazing time to be alive if you truly think about it, right? The digital world and the physical world are literally colliding as we speak right now. I mean, right now I'm on stage physically, at least I think this is a physical world, right? But that's for a different conversation over some beers. But the point is, right now, as we are sitting here, when we talk about the digital twins, when we talk about metaverse, what does that really mean, right? And as my colleague is setting up the demo, I will talk about that right now. So when we're sitting here in this physical world, there's a lot of limitations. We don't know the data that's surrounding us, do we? Right? We're absorbing the data that we see on stage, on the screens, right? We have access to data in the palm of our hands. And maybe, starting next year, we're gonna have access over here, right? There's gonna be certain manufacturers, whether it's Apple or ST Engineering or Lenovo, that will have devices coming out very soon for us to experience data that surrounds us, that we can actually access without looking down and hurting your neck and shoulders, right? So the key thing about what I'll be talking about today is really Enterprise Metaverse. So enterprises, think about that. What is the difference between a metaverse and Enterprise Metaverse? Well, over 99% of enterprises have a physical location. They have employees, right? They have offices, etc. When we talk about the metaverse, we think about, oh, it's actually Fortnite these days, right? Fortnite or Roblox. How our kids are actually creating content to have their friends come in and collaborate together. And this is the difference of what enterprise metaverses are. Because as there are physical spaces, you need to be able to understand and experience your own data, your own enterprise data. So how do you do that moving forward to the next generation of the internet? First of all, I just wanted to thank everyone, right, on behalf of Virspatial. I mean, in a way, looking at a picture of myself that's actually larger than myself, it's very indicative of what the metaverse is. It's truly larger than life. And when we talk about that, when it comes to Virspatial, we have so many different partners. ST Engineering is definitely one of the top ones. At the same time, we are also we won the Technical Pioneer of the World Economic Forum. One of the key things about this is why, right? It's because how do you take technology to better the lives of human beings? We're getting to the point of the digital era where we're talking about digital transformation, we talk about metaverse, we talk about all these buzzwords, but how can it truly benefit our lives, our work, right? Our families? And that's really the key thing that we focus on. So we work with PUB, CAG, ST Engineering, right? Also our friends at Flexive, which was courteous enough to give us this robot to show you today. So we've done a lot when it comes to digital twins, when it comes to Enterprise Metaverse, and this is where I'm gonna be focusing on. And quickly about myself, anybody heard of DIABLO, the game? Yeah, quite a few of you. So what's unique is that I used to work with the creators of DIABLO. And why do I talk about this? Because actually DIABLO is one of the first games, right, that actually a lot of the white papers reference as a part of the ecosystem of what we call now the metaverse. And why is that? It's because actually in DIABLO, you're a PC, right? You're a character, but at the same time you're going around trying to find these parts, whether it's a hat, right, whether it's a shoe or something like that, to dress up your character. And of course, because it's a collaboration effort, right, you can actually show it off. Very similar to Fortnite, very similar to Roblox. So that's really the key thing, right? How do you actually take video game technology, as you can see today, into the real world, into your day-to-day lives, into your workplace? And that's really the key. So there's so many different foundational layers of the metaverse, and it's being built. It actually already exists. It's just how do you actually find the applications? And actually, as you've seen earlier today, it's about the democratization of the tools. And that's really the key, right? Everybody talks about how you can be a creator. Well, how do you learn these new tools? And that's really the key. It should not take 6 months to learn a new tool. It should not take even a month sometimes. I should be able to give it to you, and if you have an idea, you should be able to create it in the digital world. And that's really the key thing. So when we talk about the business trends, right, whether it's 678 billion or whether it's 2 trillion, it's a huge number. And it depends on the industries that actually embraces the technologies, the industries that actually sees the opportunities and potential of the next generation of the internet. And at the same time, thanks or no thanks to COVID, the digital acceleration has been exponential. There's companies now that are actually fully digital. There are no offices, right? And this is the thing that we're all transforming towards. But at the same time, enterprises all have your own confidential data, whether it's CAD files, whether it's Word documents, SharePoint, etc. All of that can be a part of the Enterprise Metaverse. So I want to introduce something called Twinverse. So this was actually trademarked and registered prior to Facebook's name change to Meta, so back in 2019. So we've been focused on doing this and taking sort of the video game technologies of yesteryear, of now, and combining it into something where we talk about how do you, as an enterprise, create these digital twins and experience it across all of your departments. And we call it the metaverse for business. Because one of the key things, like Jonathan mentioned, it's about the human-computer spatial interaction, right? In the physical world, right now, let's say right over here, we, like I mentioned earlier, we only see and experience what we can see based off of our senses. But at the same time, there's so much data around us, whether it's air conditioning, HVAC, whether there's this robot, right? Whether it's lighting systems, everything's becoming smarter and connected. So we talk about IoT. But at the same time, all of the IoT, the machine to machine, is really a lot of data that we should not care about. What should we care about is actually maybe alerts. We should care about understanding the holistic view of the operations and then reacting based off of what the system or AI tells us. We are not going to right now, right, trust 100% AI. Just like if there's a level 5 Tesla, right? L5 Tesla right now that says, you know what, there's nobody in there, it'll take you back to your home. Would you trust that 100%? Right? Think about that. It takes time to move towards the true digital transformation. It takes time, and digital twins is the first part. So the Twinverse, we connect CAD files. If you have CAD files, well, we support it. BIM files, GIS, IoT, all of that combined, because the physical world is messy. Right? It's not just one type of data format. Right? When I used to be in the video game industry, all the artists created the 3D assets. But now in the physical world, you already have it. You already have the BIM data. You have the CAD data. And if you don't have it, like earlier, you can scan it. These days, using an iPhone, right? It's amazing how we can now digitize the physical world faster and at lower cost. So the Twinverse, we break it up into 3 components. Content. It's your content. And again, we are fully cloud agnostic as well as on-prem. So when it comes to data security, this is the key thing, right? Would you trust your confidential data to be uploaded to Google Drive, right? Or would you actually prefer to keep it inside of your own intranet? But then how do you experience it? And this is where Twinverse comes in. Then we have the platform and finally the experience. It's fully cross-platform. So you can even experience the data using AR or VR. So again, the data landscape is very vast. When we think about data, we look at, is it born digital or is it born physical? Again, any product these days that's created, that's manufactured, is done digitally, right? It's created as a CAD file first. So you can do so much with that CAD file. To do simulations, to understand it, to actually share it. Imagine if you were able to actually see it one-to-one scale and understand all of this together on a Zoom call, but in 3D. Instead of showing screenshots or a presentation, for example, like this 2D presentation, you can experience it. You can just wear glasses, and all of a sudden, you can literally access it. You can expand it. right? You can actually say, you know what, I'm going to throw this over to my colleague in design, or I can throw this over to R&D and go back and annotate it. It's about efficiency. It's about how do we empower enterprises and our colleagues to perform better, to perform faster. So again, like I mentioned, is it born in the physical space or digital? If it's born physical, for example, old buildings, you just scan it, you fly a drone, etc. And of course, we call it data centricity, right? Because every enterprise has so many different data silos, whether it's just a singular CAD file. But you know what? That CAD file can be connected to so many other relational data, and that's exactly what we do. And finally, this is where we have to work together. It's an ecosystem. You know, my friends at Epic and NVIDIA, right? It's about an ecosystem. I used to be at NVIDIA. You know, the Omniverse is something that we're also working with. It's a connection. It's a full ecosystem. And this is the key thing, right? Not one company is going to be able to do it all, but we have to work together to push forward into the next generation. So before I end, I just want to sort of show you some demos, right? Again, any type of live demo, just a disclaimer, you never know what's going to happen. And this is the key thing the difference between a video and a live demo. So first and foremost, I want to show you that actually, this is a digital twin. So what you were just seeing, it looked like a presentation, but it's actually in the virtual world. And we've recreated this room as a digital twin. So all of a sudden, you can relate. You say, oh my goodness, I can put all my business data and I can recreate my offices and I can access data and see and visualize and simulate data even before it goes live, right? And that's the key thing about this. So what can I do over here in a live demo? Let's see. Well, I can move around, I can look around just like a video game, right? This is the key thing about it. What about this robot? I wonder what I can do with this robot. Well, first, maybe some information, some statistics, right? So this is not live data, right? Because MBS didn't allow us to install a bunch of IoT devices. At the same time, there's something where we wanted to actually fully show you that everything's dynamic. People counting, right? You can use CCTVs to understand human behavior, traffic flows, everything. You can have heat maps in a retail store. This is where we're working with some of the largest brands, luxury brands, as well as Nike. We were working with them to try to understand how this data fits together, and you can do simulations, understand, hey, in a retail, physical, spatial space, who actually went over and took a look at this shoe versus that shoe? So at the same time, when it comes to live information, right? For example, this Flexiv robot, we can tell it to do things. For example, say, hey, why don't you wake up, right? And very soon, Flexiv is going to integrate AI to actually maybe dance with me. I'm sure some of you have seen the Boston Dynamics video where the robot started dancing, right? And that's the thing. They're trying to make it easier for human beings to be less afraid of robots, right? And it's getting there. But the thing is, the true digital twin is that I don't have to be here physically to operate any type of machinery, anything that's connected. You can be anywhere in the world. I'm sure you would all rather be on the beach right now, running your business, right? But that's the power of a digital twin, to empower the true next generation, the Enterprise Metaverse. Right? I can even tell this robot to do other things, run different scripts, perform other operations. It's really about the direct connection of a digital twin to the physical world. It could be a robot. It could be a drone. I mean, unfortunately, we wanted to bring a drone in here today, but unfortunately, we weren't allowed. But at the same time, this is all possible because drones all have connectivity. They have SDKs, they have APIs to connect to. And then you can tell these drones to do anything, right? They can be flying around MBS right now. And at the same time, they can be doing so much data collection and understanding of things for safety and security purposes. So what else can we do in this digital twin? So let's say we look around. Okay, let me go back here. I mean, it's just a very quick understanding and demo, but at the same time, what about the real direct connection of seeing yourselves in the digital twin? And it's refreshing. We have some Wi-Fi connectivity latency, but at the same time, when it comes to the real-time elements of the whole entire infrastructure of a digital twin, that's really key. Right? And this is when you know, oh my gosh, it's not a canned demo, right? You see yourselves and you say, oh my goodness, does that mean I can connect any type of IoT system? Yes. The answer is yes. And we want to make it easy for you to actually interact and actually create these experiences yourselves. So that's really the key thing when it comes to this. So digital twins, right? It's about the physical space. Enterprise Metaverse, it's about integrating your physical data, your enterprise data, and spatializing it and connecting it, understanding it. And it doesn't matter if it's at this convention center or if it's somewhere else, right? Because ultimately, it's about the spatialization of data. You know, we're working with a lot of other customers, like I mentioned earlier, PUB, CAG, et cetera, to connect the data elements into a sort of a digital Earth, like similar to NVIDIA, Earth 2. This is something where you, as an enterprise, can have your own Earth, your own enterprise digital Earth, and see all of your locations and go down and operate. And the different data that you can access depends on your role, right? If you're a security guard, you access CCTVs. If you're a part of the operations team, you access all of the KPIs associated, for example, from an assembly line. So this is the power of the Twinverse, where the Enterprise Metaverse is truly changing the way that we do business. And as you can tell, this is something that we would love to work with you. Along with ST Engineering, we can create something bigger and better and show the world that, hey, you know what? This is the place to be. So again, I want to thank everybody so much for coming today and witnessing a live digital twin. And I really look forward to the next steps of the Enterprise Metaverse. Thank you so much.